So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on my thoughts on the word Aspergers, as these days it's seen as an outdated label or an outdated name for high functioning autism, mild autism. But even the word high functioning and mild autism is supposed to be outdated, but I don't know. So yeah, I just thought I'd just say my thoughts on it because currently watching a video on somebody talking about this, like Asperger's and autism, what has changed in getting a diagnosis, and a lot of other like autism based YouTubers that do talk about it, and I think a large majority of them seem to agree that the word's extremely outdated and even offensive, because the guy that, I don't know, like he say like discovered Asperger's, who was supposed to be a Nazi or had some association with the Nazi party, but I don't really know what the full details on that is. I think he's called Hans Asperger or something like that, but I might be wrong. And is seen as a very controversial figure within that within that world. I don't know how to explain it, but and probably just gonna talk about my feelings towards it, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably someone, if anything, I describe my diagnosis as, or the label as having Asperger's. Like if I don't know if it comes up medically, where there's a medical reason to where I don't really have much of a choice but to put my diagnosis down. Like if I'm claiming PIP or something, or something in that lane, I'd probably describe that I have Asperger's, because that's what I was diagnosed with, that's what it says on paper, really. But that's not to say that I actually agree with the diagnosis. That's just what I've always known my condition as, you know what I mean? But watching a few videos, I watched one recently where she kind of went, this female YouTuber, she kind of went quite into detail about Hans Asperger, or the history of Asperger's, and I think probably having a bit of an insight to history of that, I think I can understand why people disown that label and just avoid it like the plague, and and it's extremely offensive and can be quite upsetting to some people, as like I don't really know the full history, but I think there's things like Hans Asperger, he wasn't really the nicest of people. Like he had some sort of mild association with the Nazi party, like I mentioned. He stole credit off other scientists or like neurological developmental sort of specialists and all that sort of shit. And a few other things like obviously like probably like experimenting with kids, and obviously disabled kids and vulnerable kids, which is not right. But in all honesty, I don't really know the full details of that. But yeah, I think I'm going a bit too deeply into that. So firstly, I do agree that the word Asperger's is an outdated name, even though that's probably what I use personally, because that's just how I've always known it. But in all honesty, I try and avoid labels. I've said it in the past, and anyone that truly knows me inside and out would know that I do avoid labels with a passion because I just feel really uncomfortable being defined by a label. Like I'm not a label. I'm just Ben. No, just Ben. That's it. Who I don't know. Not Ben with Asperger's like that. To me, is very. I find that very offensive, and it to the point where it makes my stomach turn. And actually, nothing makes me more angry than that, in all honesty. So usually I do try and avoid labels as much as I can, and to be honest, all they really truly tell people about my Asperger's who I truly don't know who I trust, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like people who I'm comfortable with, so that's probably the only reason I'd share it. And other than that, I just try and avoid it as much as I can, even though the way this world, well, my life in this world is my current circumstances. It's not exactly easy to escape the label, to be honest. You know, when you, I don't know, when your house and stuff, mainly my house and my whole stability is basically run around me probably having Asperger's and I don't know, a bit of a past of mental health and all that shit. So it's not exactly easy to escape, and especially when I was at school, that definitely wasn't an easy thing to escape from. So I think like now they label it as ASD. I think really autism spectrum disorder because they pretty much group the whole spectrum of autism, whether it's just mild autism or severely autistic or wherever you are on it, as just one big diagnosis. But sometimes I think some people are quite happy with that, but coming from me personally, I just think grouping the whole spectrum together is something that can make people misunderstand my diagnosis, my needs, I guess, or my symptoms as someone who's got Asperger's, who's basically mildly autistic. I don't think, not saying I'm better than them, but I don't think my needs really lines up to someone who, don't know, who needs 24/7 care or can't really walk to the shop on their own independently and all that shit, and so many examples. So I think when like you go to like appointments or whatever, or just many examples, I don't think I think it's very easy for people to lump you in a box, you know, and just assume things and make you just assume that your needs are a lot higher than they actually are, and I think that's why I probably lean a bit more towards the Asperger's side, because I think it just doesn't really. I don't know. I don't think if the system's going to box you in, I don't think it's really right for me to be boxed in the same category as people who need 24/7 care, and I just can't do anything independently when I've probably proven to do things independently, where I've probably proven to be 90% independent, which I probably am because I live on my own. I pay my own bills. I've been to university. I've don't know. I've done a bit of volunteering and stuff through me doing it on my own, really. So for that reason, I just don't think that really explains it. But it's not that I think I'm better than them. I just don't think my needs are exactly the same as them. It's like so. I don't think I agree with it being labelled as ASD or just autism in general. Like I think it shouldn't even be labelled as Aspergers or ASD or autism, but maybe I don't know, call it something else. I don't really know what. Like I don't mind the word mildly autistic. Like I don't really mind that, but to be honest, in all honesty, I just don't like labels in general. But I guess for medical reasons, if you want like PIP, because you struggle with routine of what's expected to be a normal functional person, which I quite clearly do struggle with routine. I think like that's the core of it. That maybe medically there needs to be something to explain why I can't do that, because I think that's probably that's really the whole purpose of having a diagnosis and a label in general, whether I like it or not. That's the whole purpose of it, to adjust things around to make things more suitable and more bearable without you, breaking or getting severely depressed because you can't keep up with a 9 to 5 high expectations and like jobs and all that sort of stuff, which in all honesty, not that I like it, I do struggle with that. But I think people mistake me for being really dumb or thick or like retarded or licking windows because I'm grouped in with autism in general. But I guess that's probably my brutal, blunt way of explaining it, even though I'm trying not to be that blunt in this video, but I guess I'm coming across as a bit blunt. But yeah, that's what these videos are all about, just no filter whatsoever, to be honest. But that's just my opinion on that. If anyone's watching, just let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested to know whether, feel free to disagree and all that, but that's my brutal, I don't know, that's just my honest, unfiltered opinion on it. But I don't think I've got anything else to say on that topic. I might make another video talking about this because I might think of something else. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Goodbye.